Hello, this is Gray Hughes of Gray Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Please hit that like button, share, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. But hitting that like button is really important to get into the YouTube algorithm if you'd like to help me out. Today's video is regarding Caleb Harris and the waterway in the area. Now, there's other people making videos about this too. I've had this link for a while. Somebody had sent it to me, a link to the GIS website where it actually goes over the different manhole locations and pipes. And I thought I'd give you my take on the same topic. All right. So for those of you that are new to this case, and you need a quick little background, I'll just say that Caleb Harris right here was a college student at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. His father's name is Randy. On March 3rd, 2024, and let me just say this, he was in environmental studies, environmental science. That was his study at the Texas A&M Corpus Christi University there. So on March 3rd, 2024, at 10:30 p.m., they had just got the dog and they had it at their apartment. And 11:53 p.m., there is a picture of the dog that was sent to his mom and uncle, but we don't have that picture. All right, now that is late in the evening on March 3rd. Early in the morning on March 4th, 2024, at 1 a.m., Harris is on Ring doorbell camera with the dog outside with his roommates. And here it is right here. See, he's the one in the yellow hat and white shirt. It's 1 a.m. You can see it at the top there. And they pick up the dog and they head back into the apartment. It's as simple as that. Then at 2:15 a.m., Caleb Harris sent a Reddit post that says Oso Bay Hiking Trail, and that's at March 4th at, this says 12:15 a.m., but it's actually Pacific Standard Time is what this is set to. So it's actually 2:15 in the morning. So 2:15, he puts a post on Reddit. It's a kind of a site where you can hook up with somebody on that page in particular. So he was just typing up, hey, does anybody want to meet me at Oso Bay Hiking Trail at 2:15 a.m.? And then at 2:20 a.m., the roommate goes to sleep on the couch, and Caleb is awake, preparing for his fishing trip, and says he is going to order Uber Eats. Then at 2:44 a.m., Harris takes that very same dog outside for a walk in the apartment complex and sends a Snapchat to his sister. At 2:45 a.m., he orders Uber Eats while he's still walking the dog, and orders 2 Lunchables, a Red Bull, and an apple pie. Then at 2:58 a.m., his phone apparently turns off or dies, but then weirdly there is a image that was taken on Snapchat at 3:03 that was sent to a friend, and it's right there. And that location on a map is right there. This is the apartment complex, the cottages, and that photograph was taken right in this location. And you can see just by looking at that, it's in the exact same spot. There's the bridge and there's that path coming up, and that's the waterway right in that area. Now, a lot of people thought maybe he fell into there. The water actually in this location is going out towards the ocean. It goes that direction. So, people were looking over there. Law enforcement did look at the Oso Bay Hiking Trail, which is right here. That's where you would park your car. And they looked around, I believe, in this entire park here. And there are some manholes in the park, but they're not on that GIS site. But there's one there and here, and there's some other ones that they do have on there. There's one in this location. But I was looking at the wastewater manholes. And it shows you the wastewater pipes. And we'll get to that here in a minute. Then at 3:12 a.m., his phone pings on Williams Avenue. So here is the apartment complex. And if you go over in this direction, this is Williams Avenue. So they said that they don't believe that that ping is meaningful. But, you know, it is kind of interesting now that you think about it. Because as we all know that there were body parts found in this pump here that we don't have the identification yet. But I'm thinking today, which is Monday, or you know, in the next few days, we're going to get the answer to that question. It just seems like it's possible, almost likely, that it's his given the location, because here's the apartment complex, and then body parts are found in this well here. This is like a distribution site of wastewater from this area, and they actually checked out in this wastewater treatment facility here because that's where all the waste ends up, and then it's treated here. Okay, they looked in there to see if other body parts had shown up in this plant, and we don't know if they found anything there at all. So then at 3:20 a.m., the Uber Eats that he ordered actually was delivered to his apartment and placed at the door. That Uber Eats driver then left, and while they were leaving, saw somebody else driving around, and they actually found out who that person was, and he was just visiting his girlfriend, and they don't think he is involved. Then at 3:35 a.m., there's a possible sighting. The apartment had been searched, and they determined that the roommates likely had nothing to do with it either, and law enforcement is wondering why he left on foot on an extremely foggy night. And that was a question they were asking early on, but then when we got that Reddit post, it seemed to answer the question of why he was outside, because at 2:15 he posted, "Hey, does anybody want to meet me at Oso Bay Hiking Trail?" Not in so long of a sentence there, but he just said Oso Bay Hiking Trail, and did somebody answer him, and that's why he was outside at around 3, and then he got picked up. You know, is that what's going on here? All right. So as we know, they found body parts in this well right there. And if you remember on a show the other day, I drew a line right off the street and where the pump is and went like this, and just to go over this manhole that's right there. And it happens to go right over that same mound that's in a field there. And apparently, in this mound here, there's some manholes. And I've seen it in a video, and we showed on the show. Let me get the 3D effect going, and then we can kind of see that there's a mound right there. See that? You can see it. And apparently there are manholes in there, and one of the manholes was off in this video. So knowing that, we'll take a look at some of these maps that are produced on this GIS website. Now, the video that was taken at that mound there was on April 17th. And one of the manhole covers was off. And as we know, that's only 5 weeks or so after Caleb Harris went missing. So keep that in mind. But anyways, I have this line here, and it turns out that line, and a guest called in. I think his name was Brad. And when he called in, he discussed the sort of like sewage system and how things work. And he said, yeah, that's exactly where the line would be, kind of off the street and straight across, and then to this manhole here. And I didn't have any way of verifying anything like that, but it seems like we do now. All right, so let me show you what I did. On that website, they show you where all the manholes are, and they also show you where the wastewater pipes are located. So here's where all the manholes were located. And some of them seem to be missing, because here's where the mound is, and those manholes do not show up right there. There is one right there, and we also know that there's some manholes over in this area. So I don't know why those don't show up. You can actually see them. See, there's one there, there. Those might be something else other than manholes, though. But as you can see, there's one right there. And if I turn this back on, see how the blue dot's there? Because there are manholes right there. So I thought that was interesting, just to see where the manholes are located. But the more important one is, where are the pipes? And that is this one right here. So I took the time to put the overlay on top of Google Earth. And let me make it more transparent so you can see through it a little bit. There you go. And you can see the pipe. Now look at this. Right where the manhole is, there is a Y intersection. So likely sewage would come this direction and then go that way, and then sewage from these apartment complex and other areas over here would make its way down this pipe in this direction towards the well and pump. And again, that pump actually pumps the sewage out to the waste treatment plant. So let's take a look at some of these images that I found here. Now here's one of them. So this pipe right here is right here where the mound is. This pipe is 15 inches. Now I don't think that it's possible for Caleb Harris to have fallen into a 15-inch wide hole and gone in. Now the manhole itself, when you take off the manhole cover, perhaps there's a larger pipe right there that goes into the smaller pipe that's 15 inches. I mean, 15 inches is a pretty big pipe, but you'd have to really squish your shoulders together to get into it. So was he somehow put into the pipe, and then water got in there and he was dead already, and perhaps over time he decomposed and then his body broke apart, and then it was able to get into the 15-inch pipe and move out. Now here's what I found that is interesting. The last EDI, now I don't know what ED means, but I'm sure it probably means inspection, was also on April 17th, right here. You see that date? And that's right here where my mouse is moving around. It's right there in the mound here. So it was inspected on April 17th. Amazingly, the same exact day that the manhole cover was off. So I would say that when the inspector was there, they accidentally left the manhole cover off, and incredibly, the searchers happened to be there on the exact same day. It could also be that the manhole cover was off, they called somebody, and they sent somebody out there, and they checked it out, they inspected it, and then documented it, and that's why the date changed here. So it could be either one of those. So when, again, when the searchers found it off, they may have called somebody, and then they went out to check it, and then they put it back on, they inspected it, etc., but they put the manhole cover back on. But it also could be that that's why the manhole cover was off, because whoever inspected it left it off, and that would sort of exclude Caleb Harris from falling into that pipe, right? Because this is on April 17th, and March 4th is when he went missing. All right, so we got that pipe, and that one's 15 inches. And then there's an 18-inch pipe is the one right after. So you see, here's the pump house right here. So see that jagged line with the pipes? And that's kind of what you have right there, right? That's where the jagged line, where the pump house is. And this pipe right here, this lighter one, is 18 inches. And I think this is the pipe that then sends the wastewater back out to the wastewater treatment facility. All right, so I guess we have a lot to think about in, what does this all mean? I mean, it's interesting to see these pipes. I mean, obviously there must be some manholes, like there's a manhole there, maybe the lineup of that goes to that manhole. It's hard to get these overlays exactly right, as you can see. It's close though, it's close. You can, if you spend way more time, you could do it, but it takes a long time. You have to kind of stretch it in one direction and move it around because it's not correctly size oriented when you get it. So if you just kind of look in this area where the apartment complex is, I mean, don't you think it's absolutely incredible that a manhole cover is off right there? The bridge where he took that photograph is right over here, and it's only 200 yards. So if I measure that, go to about right there, look at that. It's 0.12 miles, but in yards, it's 203 yards from there to that manhole, and then there's a 15-inch pipe that goes straight this direction to that well and pump house. So was his body inside that manhole, and then as the rains came in and so forth, over a couple months his body just decomposed, and then some of the pressure from the storms maybe started breaking away body parts, and then it went over to the well. I mean, it's kind of a disturbing thing to talk about, but I'm just trying to talk about it in a way that you can understand. So let me know in the comments what you think about this. I think this is really interesting, though. Now that you can see where the pipes are underground, and it's amazing, right at that mound, you know, I mean, again, it's not perfectly lined up, but this right there would be right in the middle of that mound, and there are 3 manholes, I guess, inside this mound here, and one of them was missing its cover. But amazingly, again, when the searchers were there, it was April 17th, and April 17th is the last date that it was inspected. I guess we would have to know, again, was it inspected after the searchers and they called somebody and said, hey, one of your manholes is off, or they called the police or whatever they did, and then they sent somebody out there to inspect it and then put it back on. You know, it's interesting. What was he inspecting it for? Was he looking to see if Caleb Harris went in there? And I would say back in April, he should be still right there if, in fact, he couldn't fit down because he wouldn't have been decomposed, I don't think, enough at that time. But if the searchers were there after the inspection, that just means the inspection person, whoever did the inspection, didn't put the manhole cover back on. So I know I'm repeating myself there, but I think this is really interesting and important information to know, because if that manhole was off, then it really increases the probability. For example, if he went out there to put it back on, that's why he was there inspecting it, that means the manhole could have easily been off 5 weeks prior, and perhaps Caleb Harris was either put into that or fell into it, but I can't really see a reason why you'd be walking down the street. Let's just go to street view here from the apartment. So right down there is where that bridge is, and there it is right there. You can see that mound. Here is the manhole on the ground. If you turn, look this direction, there's the mound that has the manholes in it, and right over there is the pump house with the well. So what would be the reason that he'd walk out over here and go walking around? And even if he did fall in, I mean, how far down is the drop from the ground? I mean, that's something to look at. Wait, actually, what's it say right here? It says 12 feet. You know, there's little height things here, 15 feet. What does that mean? Does that mean that it's 15 feet above sea level right there? I'd love to know the height of the manhole above the pipe that's parallel with the ground. There must also be a pipe that's perpendicular to the ground that goes straight down into the pipe. You know, how big is that pipe? Does it start off? Does it kind of start off larger and then taper down, or is that also just a 15-inch hole there? I mean, the manhole looked a little bit bigger in the video, but I'm just not sure. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. I think this is all really very interesting information, and I think this might lead to, you know, actually what might have happened. Again, based on those 2 questions that I asked earlier about the searchers and the person that went out and inspected it. Okay? So thank you all very much for watching. I really appreciate it for taking the time to watch this video. And if you can leave a comment in the comments section, I would really appreciate it. Maybe even consider becoming a channel member. That'd be great too. We do live streams basically every single night. And we just had our donation night last night and gave away $4,000 from the channel's income during the month. Okay, and I appreciate everybody who helps support the channel that allows that to happen. It's all based on ad revenue, the super chats, etc. that come in, and you guys all make a huge difference in supporting this channel, and I really appreciate it. All right, so again, leave a comment, hit that like button. Thank you all for watching, and as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.